up, people? Looks like we're having some technical issues on my end here, but hey, we're back. It's the Full Coverage Football Show. My name's Jeremy. That is my boy Drew. Brother, how you doing tonight?
Wonderful. Good evening to you, my friend. How are things with you?
I mean, outside of these technical issues, doing pretty good. We get to talk draft tonight.
We do.
We catch up.
I missed the draft because I suck, which people will understand.
You had a good time, though. That's all that matters.
I did. Yes, I sure did. But yeah, so draft's going to be fun. I'm just happy to be back talking football again. The draft, it's just like this long, agonizing process of people never shutting the hell up about, oh, I like this person here, and oh, this something just changed, so this person's going here. When in reality, nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Yep, exactly.
And it's like we do this every year, and it's just like I just get tired of hearing about it. Like tired of just like let's just get the draft over with, and now we can move on. So I'm relieved that the draft is come and gone at this point, and that our teams may have not screwed it up as bad as we normally do.
No, I think our teams did pretty well, and we'll get into that, but. I mean, the draft is one of my favorite things. It always has been. This year it's in Cleveland. I think Cleveland did a hell of a job. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go down there. My kids had no interest. And after I dragged them to the All-Star festivities last year or 2 years ago, I wasn't even going to bother with the draft because they could have cared less about the All-Star game. So what the hell? It's the draft. I'm like, another time, maybe next year I'll go to Vegas. Maybe we do the show in Vegas next year for the draft. That could be dangerous. We'll see. But
the show would never be aired. Like we just would forget about doing it and completely.
Just us in the middle of a casino with phones. Like, yeah, that's a good pick. I like that pick. Hammered. But
sounds about right.
Just simple and easy. Anyway, the draft, like it's got so much fun taken out of it because everyone is so over the top. This is my guy. This is who they should have taken. We'll talk about that to a certain extent, but we're not going to give out grades tonight. Like the whole instant grades, they don't make sense. That's why we do our ice cold draft segment. That's why we do our back draft segment, because these draft picks, there's dudes who got taken in the 4th round whose name you've never heard about is St. Paul State Technical Knitting College.
It's a good school. I don't need you to put them down.
A degree is a degree. I get that, but their football program's not up to par with the LSUs and the Alabamas and the Ohio States. There's guys that are coming out of nowhere who are going to do pretty well, who we're all going to hate on. Maybe Alex Leatherwood. We'll talk more about that pick later. These guys might work out. We'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go division by division. We're going to talk about the things we liked, things we didn't like. We're not going to grade them. We're not going to say, oh, that's definitely a B pick. That's a B plus. Like, I don't think those make sense. I mean, honestly, you look at what we did last year, our draft recap show, basically the same thing we're doing. We're staying consistent. But before we get into all that, Adam Schefter broke some news that I don't think was really that shocking. A lot of people are like, oh, my God, Aaron Rodgers wants out, and that's the news. Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. He kind of hinted towards that after the NFC title game. He kind of always says little things about it. This wasn't something that was set up for Schefter to just break. It was just Aaron Rodgers saying shit constantly. Like, he's like, you know what, I'm going to go host Jeopardy. Maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I do that. And he's like, oh, I can host Jeopardy and play for the Packers because it's that easy for him.
I hate Aaron Rodgers, but
I know you do.
Like, I hate the football player Aaron Rodgers, but the person Aaron Rodgers, he's starting to grow on me because all this is calculated bullshit by Aaron Rodgers, right? Like not like the things that are coming out, but like the things that he has said. Like he just will say something subtle that would kind of make you say, okay, well, that was kind of weird. Listen, man, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I mean, if you're the Packers, how do you trade Aaron Rodgers? Like, I just don't. I mean, we kind of talked about this with Deshaun Watson, which that turned into a shit show. So we don't really need to visit that. But we talked about with Russell Wilson a little bit, right? So we touched on this quarterback. It's like, how the hell do you trade a guy like that? Like what are you? What value you're going to get? But I think Aaron Rodgers is arrogant enough to just not play.
Go host Jeopardy. I thought he did a damn good job on Jeopardy. I was impressed.
I think Aaron Rodgers is one guy that, like, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
He is.
Aaron Rodgers would be like, "F you, man. I'll still won't play."
But I mean, it got better this week when the stuff comes out that he's texting teammates.
Jerry Krause calling my best.
Yeah. I mean, he's calling Brian Gutekunst. I don't even know how to pronounce his name anymore. I always forget because I always make fun of it and I say something different, and I'm not going to say that on air right now, what I usually say. But yeah, I make fun of his name too. But that's not my boss. Like, Rodgers, like, he's Jerry Krauseing us. Yeah. Drafting Jordan Love last year, we hated that pick. It kind of made sense where you got to build a quarterback. No, Jordan Love, probably a good dude. But when you're trying to win
to a team that was in the NFC Championship last year,
they could have had
another player. And
maybe that player takes you to the Super Bowl. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was unbelievable last year. MVP. And yeah, this is a totally different situation than Deshaun Watson, and we'll touch on that when we talk Texans draft, which was whatever. But if you're the Packers now and you got Jerry Krause comments and you know that he's not happy and you know he's not going to renegotiate, like they're like, hey, can we work on that contract, maybe get us some salary cap? And he's like, oh, so you can like sign a weapon like one you could have drafted? No, I'm good. He doesn't want anything except for an extension. He wants to stay longer or get him out of there. What happens here? What do you think ends up happening?
Just let me ask you this. Is Aaron Rodgers kind of acting like a somewhat of a baby with the situation? Yes, but at the same time,
he's earned that right.
It's bullshit what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they doing? They've yet to, like, they have Devontae Adams. They have not put anybody outside of that is capable of playing outside and opposite of Devontae. Just nobody consistently can play. It's like they've put no stock into it. And listen, you say what you will. The Packers, I mean, they're an organization that I feel like doesn't take a ton of BS.
No.
But like, it's just what is this? What do you do right now? What do we do here? Because this is an interesting situation, right? I mean, if I'm Rodgers, you feel like
Rodgers,
he has the leverage to an extent, I guess. Of course he does. But at the same time, dude, this is going to be messy. I feel like it's already messy. Like, you're getting comments out there like that he was telling free agents not to sign there. You know, you things are out there about the Jerry Krause thing and the group text. Like, who's leaking this? Where's this coming from is my question. Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Is it coming from Betty at McDonald's?
I mean,
is it coming from the limo driver?
The cupcake store?
Yeah.
I mean, are we going Cleveland style here? Are we tracking planes now? I mean,
the Lions were going to hire Robert Saleh because somebody said that his wife picked up a cake in Detroit. Congratulations, cake. So, who knows?
If you order the cake, just take it to New York, man. I mean, don't get good cakes in New York. You get them in the D.
Detroit has
everyone knows
cakes.
that.
Wonderful.
Detroit is known for their cakes. When I think Detroit, I think cake. I mean,
that's what everybody thinks.
I mean,
I'm very sure of that.
I'm pretty sure the last time I was in Detroit, I rolled in and it said, "Welcome to the Cake City," and hey, it's cool. But yeah, this Rodgers thing, you're exactly right. Like, where is everything coming from? What's the source? Who's letting it out? What bullshit do we have to weed through to find out what's really going on? All we really know is he's not happy.
And nobody's really countered. Nobody said anything.
No.
Like, all this has been out, and it's not like Aaron said anything. It's not like the Packers organization said anything. It's kind of like, I'm excited to see something else will come out tomorrow. It's literally like TMZ at this point.
I mean, what a weird offseason. You got Deshaun Watson, who going into this offseason, we're like, Deshaun Watson, probably the best quarterback outside of Pat Mahomes in the league, growing as a player, young guy, and Bill O'Brien's ruined him. And then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, well, he kind of ruined himself. Then you got Russell Wilson wanting out.
It was kind of a double-edged sword there in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill O'Brien did ruin it.
He did, but I mean,
he ruined himself. So it's kind of like, you know,
I mean, he ruined himself off the field, and it's going to ruin himself on the field eventually here. And it looks like right now he's not playing next year. I mean, you draft Davis Mills with your first pick. You have no picks in the top 65, and then you take Davis Mills. We'll get into that. But then Russell Wilson wants out. All these quarterbacks want out, and none of them are going anywhere. Do we think Rodgers is actually going to get traded? We'll end it with that. Where does he play next year?
Before next year?
Yeah. This coming season.
Oh, in Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Me and my wife do this shit all the time. It's like because technically they played this year. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like, but you're talking about the next
season.
So, yes.
Yeah, it was my
So
bad.
I think he plays in Green Bay this season, and then next season, I mean, I think unless things get better and they win the Super Bowl or some shit, I mean, it's got to be. It came down to like them firing like some dude that Aaron Rodgers really liked, and then
Jake Kumaro.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then it just is this trickle down effect, and it's like it kind of seems like it's just spiraling out of control. But like again, you're not trading Aaron Rodgers. I don't give it. I don't care. Like unless Aaron Rodgers is going to not play games at all and says he's not playing for you, then you trade him. But the problem is you have no leverage.
Yeah, you get nothing back worth it. I mean, he's 36 years old, 37, going to be 37, but he's still the best quarterback in that division, maybe top 2 in the league right now. I mean,
Jared Goff's in that division.
Jared Goff is and I'm a big Jared Goff fan. We'll talk about did they make a mistake in the draft? Even though I like the draft, did they make a mistake? Let's get into the draft. Let's start with the AFC East. So the AFC East, we had the Jets, the Bills, the Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins. This whole division, I think, drafted excellent. I really dug what everyone did. The Jets, Joe Douglas, our boy Harrison Glazer, who may be on the show next week. We'll talk to him. Either way, we got to get him on because that boy is probably jacked, excited. He got his guy, Zach Wilson. You got Michael Carter in the 4th round. You traded up. You got Elijah Vera Tucker. I mean, the Jets, they did some damn good things to build around Zach Wilson, more so than they ever did for Sam Darnold. And Zach Wilson comes in, and as we're talking Zach Wilson, did you happen to hear the Craig Carton thing that came out in New York? The dude who was in jail, and now he's back on the radio. So Zach Wilson goes on this show. No, Craig Carton was in jail, and now he's the talk show host. New York. Dude's out of jail, back on the airwaves. This guy, entire interview with Zach Wilson, doing his media rounds. This kid looks like he's 10 years old.
He does.
A young kid coming from Utah, goes to the big city, the Big Apple, and all this guy talks about is how hot Zach Wilson's mom is. The entire interview, that's all he says. You know your mom's hot? Your mom's hot. That's all this dude talked about. Absolute joke. Like, yeah, his mom's good looking. I'm not going to lie. But,
so wait,
come on.
Let me get this right. Let me just make sure I'm understanding correctly. So Zach Wilson was on the interview with this clown, right? So it sounds like the dude's clearly a dick, right? Because you don't just say that.
Yeah.
Although Zach Wilson, he's got that picture out there in the suit. He looks like he's 4. But hey, he's a young kid. Listen, he's a young kid that's going to make more money next year than I'll make in my entire life. So good for him. But come on, man. That's like, how does he not just hang up the phone? Like, how do you just not end that call? Like,
yeah, and props to Zach Wilson for being mature enough to just go through it. Like, I only listened to a little bit of it. I'm like, this dude's a clown. Like, I get it.
You don't do that.
Listen, if we had Luka Doncic on this show, I'd be like, listen, Luka, I want to be your stepdad. I've said that to many people, but no, I'm not going to sit there the whole time and be like, Luka, your mom's hot. But she is. That's the truth. But don't sit there and waste the entire time this kid just getting to the big city, and that's all you're going to talk about? Absolute clown. Whatever. So, Zach Wilson, you want to come and talk about football or other things? Come on our show. We'll have some fun. But what do you think about what the Jets did?
I like it. They're cleaning house, like, right? The Jets, the Adam Gase era. And the problem is it's similar to the Lions situation. There's a lot of stink to move out of that you know what I mean? That team.
Good way of putting it.
So they loaded up with athletic players. I mean, they got their quarterback. They're going to protect their quarterback. They got the guard out of USC with the 2nd pick. So listen, you got your guy.
Traded up to get him.
Yep, you got your guy. You're trying to build the line. You're trying to do it the right way. It just with a team like that, excuse me, you're going to have a tough time competing this year. But the building blocks are there, and you're starting to get guys that. But again, when you change over what was just a really shitty team, you're transferring quarterbacks. You're expecting a lot out of this rookie quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. It's a really an uphill battle for that team because they're kind of starting from the base floor. Not the roster is better than the Lions roster. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
But but you're throwing in Zach Wilson, and it's like, okay, here we go. Let's not ruin this guy like we did Sam Darnold.
100% right. And you look what they did. Last year, they got the big kid at left tackle. This year, they get a guy who can move the guard. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. He is. So you get those two guys to move to the left side of your line, already better than anything Sam Darnold's had. Then you've got Denzel Mims, who you got last year. You still got Jamison Crowder. And then you had Elijah Moore with pick 34. Elijah Moore, I had him as a first-round pick. Like, I think that kid's that good. He's a smaller version of A.J. Brown. Same
just
school, same place.
You know what I mean? Just lots of receivers there for the picking, which is why he slid to where he did, you know?
Then you hold off. You don't have a third-round pick because you traded up to get Elijah Vera Tucker. Fine, no third-round pick. Getting Elijah Vera Tucker is worth more than that third-round pick. You come back in the fourth round, day 3. You get Michael Carter, the fourth best running back in this draft. Then you get Jamian Sherwood, a safety who had as a third-round pick. You get Michael Carter, too. So you get Michael Carter times 2 in New York now. But then in the 6th round, you get a guy who was injured last year out of Florida State. He played safety, but he's like 6'4", 220. That's a new linebacker, Hamza Nasruddin. That kid,
nicely
he's
done.
An athlete.
Pronunciation there.
I was worried about slurring through it as I was thinking ahead.
My favorite part is it's Michael Carter and Michael Carter the second. So like they were made
after 1 and 2. Exactly.
Same team.
I mean, excellent job by Joe Douglas. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You got 2 Michael Carters, Jamian Sherwood, Elijah Moore.
Fucking set, man. You're set.
That's all you need. You get a whole team of Michael Carters.
Yeah. Good for them. Good for them. No, I did good job. They got their guy at quarterback. I mean, is Zach Wilson going to be the real deal? Who the hell am I to tell you? I don't know.
What are your thoughts? You think Zach Wilson's better than Justin Fields based on their situations?
I honestly think both their.
That's what we do here. We just throw out random questions.
Both their situations are kind of like. I like Justin Fields. And Allen Robinson's going to like Justin Fields, I think. But
yes.
But I feel like, I don't know, man. Do you like either of those offenses?
I like what the Jets are building because anytime you're putting a Shanahan offense together and you got the kind of weapons they do with the kind of movement they can have, it's going to be interesting. But, I mean, I'm much higher on Justin Fields, and you put him there where you got Darnell Mooney now. You got
Allen Darnell Mooney is a space creator. Like, that's a guy that can get open.
And that's what Elijah Moore is going to do for Zach Wilson. So they got pretty similar spots.
It's tough, man. I think both of them have tough sledding in year 1, to be honest with you. It's just the way they'll land.
Yep. And while we're talking quarterbacks, we'll stay in the AFC East. We'll talk about Mac Jones. Everyone freaking out. Mac Jones is going to go number 3. He's getting pick number 3. Dude, you said it 2 months ago. No, Trey Lance is a pick at number 3. It makes the most sense. Talked about it on the show. And guess what? Trey Lance went number 3 to the Niners. So Mac Jones sits in the green room, and people are like, oh, he's still sitting there. He's almost all by himself at 15. Like, that's nothing compared to the old school way when the draft used to take 6 hours for the first round, and Aaron Rodgers sat there forever. That's where Aaron Rodgers' chip really started, sitting there forever. So Mac Jones goes to the Patriots. Not a better fit for him in the entire league. Mac Jones at 15.
He fell into their lap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, as you were saying, nobody was taking Mac Jones that high, man. They just weren't doing it. Like he dropped down the board. Like, nobody was doing it. Like, maybe at some point San Francisco maybe was thinking that. We heard a million reports, but again, silly season, as you call it. It's just a bunch of bullshit you throw on the wall and see if it sticks, right? Mm-hmm. So the Mac Jones thing was, I don't even think it was ever real, but maybe it was. But it's just, I didn't think that a team was moving up and being that aggressive to take Mac Jones.
No.
There was clearly a guy they like, and I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy that he's going to start. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, and that's the perfect situation for Trey Lance, who's a guy that
100%.
That does need time to really hone in his craft and get acclimated with the league rather. But a perfect pick there for the Patriots. Just fell in their lap. That's what they needed at the time. I think they had a pretty solid draft. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. You get Christian Barmore round 2. a guy who was a possible first-round pick, a guy with round one talent in round 3, and Ronnie Perkins off the edge of Oklahoma. Had some off-field issues. He's got to work on his pass rush. But that kid's got the talent to come off the edge and be a monster. Round 4, you get a big guy in Ramondre Stevenson. Cameron McGrone out of Michigan, a linebacker. You look at him and you're like, well, that guy should play for the Patriots. And they didn't draft a receiver until the 7th round, but you added some other guys. You can get a receiver later.
And they spent a shitload of cash, dude, and in free agency. Like this team's clearly like they're thinking that they can win this year. Cam's under center week 1, right?
No, I don't think so. I think Cam is the backup here. I think Mac Jones starts. Out of all the quarterbacks, including Trevor Lawrence, the guy who's most ready to start day 1 in the NFL is Mac Jones. But he has the lowest. He has the lowest ceiling. I disagree
with you.
Okay.
I'll bet you a soda.
All right, I'm on. I still owe you bacon, by the way, from our last bet.
Yeah, man, I want that bacon. Damn it. But no, I think that Cam Newton will start week 1 until they realize his arm's falling off like it was last year, and then and his hats are still goofy. Like if Cam had the game, I'm getting way off base, but like God, with the damn hats, dude, like you can't even throw it 15 yards anymore. You need to chill with the what do they call it? The freshness or
the drip.
The drip.
Got the drip.
Yeah.
I mean, we say you got the drip back in the day, and it was way worse than what you were wearing. But I mean, he always looks like he's always dressed like he went to the Kentucky Derby. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah. Maybe Cam Newton starts week 1 at tight end in a 3 tight end set. No, I'm kidding. I'm still big.
Bold take by you. You're bullish on Mac.
Mac Jones starts day 1.
All right.
Mac for me. But yeah, I definitely like what the Patriots did. This was, for the first time in years, a good draft for them.
Are the Patriots a team that's going to throw a rookie in, though? I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
I mean, dude, we know what Cam Newton is, and we saw what he was last year. Cam Newton is a shell of his former self.
If we know what he is, Billy Belichick knows what he is.
I mean, he's going to walk in there with all his personality, and he's going to be like, Cam, you're not going to start this year. We're going to go with the rookie, Mac. He played well, and we're going to go with that. And Cam's going to be dressed in bright pink, like he looks like the Pink Panther, and he's going to be like, all right, bro, I'm out. And that's going to be it. He'll maybe be a backup. We'll see. But yeah, I like what the Patriots did. It's interesting. They've had a hell of an offseason. I mean, you got Nelson Aguilar there. You got the 2 tight ends they added. They traded for Trent Brown. I mean, they've rebuilt their lines, which is important, and they've added some weapons, the most weapons they've had in a few years. So props to them for that. But moving on to another team that did really well in this division.
All right, I won't ramble on this pick.
Let's go with Miami Dolphins. Yeah. Miami, pick number 6, Jalen Waddle. Pick 18, Jalen Phillips. Tons of talent with those first-round picks. Jalen Phillips kind of worries you because of the concussion issues. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill clone. And then you go Javen Holland in round 2 over Trevin Merrick, which I thought was weird. You get a tackle in Liam Eichenberg in round 2. And then the rest of the draft is whatever. You got Hunter Long in round 3, and then they had 2 7th-round picks, whatever. But those first 2 picks, especially, those are interesting picks because there is a ton of talent, but they've got to live up to it. And then when you look at the round 2 pick, while we're talking this, Javen Holland. So you get Javen Holland at 36 overall, and then you release your starting safety and team captain at safety, whatever. We'll see how that works out for them. But the first 2 picks, we'll go back to that. Waddle and Phillips, what do you think?
Love it. I love what the Dolphins are doing, dude. If Tua is the guy, we're going to find out. I think the Dolphins are building everything the right way. Listen, they acquire some draft capital. They had money. They're building it from the bones, and they're doing it quick. Like, again, this is why the Lions are just a disaster of an organization. It doesn't take 6 years to flip an NFL team. It doesn't work like that. With the salary cap and the draft, it just doesn't work like that. It 2 years, you can have a team going from ass to winning a division. It's just the way it works. It's a parity of the league. Miami's building it the right way. And Miami's, I mean, the division's tough. It's a tough division when you think of, we like what New England did. You think of the Buffalo Bills just continue to build what they're doing. And then, I mean, the Jets, of course, we think they're still a year or two away, but again, because the Jets are kind of at the starting point of figuring out what they're doing.
Mhm.
But I like what Miami's done, and they're plugging because the roster's good. So they have the luxury of kind of picking a guy that a skill position like a Jalen Waddle, plugging guys in like that, just based off of where their roster is right now.
Yep. I mean, you hit her head on. You can't add anything to that. I mean, that's exactly what they needed. You're going to find out if Tua is the guy. You got Devontae Parker. You got Gesicki. You got Preston Williams, who people are still overlooking and forgetting about. Then you add Waddle. I mean, that's an excellent offense for him. We'll see if he can get the ball out quick. You got a space guy now. You got guys who can go deep. You got a little bit of everything. And you're right. We hadn't even talked about the best team in this division. That is the Buffalo Bills. Greg Rousseau in the first round, they got an edge guy. You know they needed it. I think Travis Etienne would have been the pick had he slid, but he went 25. Boogie Basham, you get another edge guy in round 2, and then you get a monster. The Spencer Brown pick, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. This guy is just massive. Guy's going to be interesting. He may not start year 1, but exactly. But he's going to be a guy you can plug in eventually, and he's going to keep Josh Allen standing up. The rest of the pick, DeMar Hamlin, I like the pick at 212. A great name at 213, Rashad Wildgoose out of Wisconsin. Cornerback. Guy's got talent. He played well. Wasn't as good last year as he was in 2019, but still pretty damn good draft for this entire division. What did you think about the Buffalo Bills picks there?
You know one thing. If there's one thing that you should know about me is I love building from the lines, right? I like fat guys. I think that's
why you host. That's why you do show with me.
I love it. Listen, man, I'm all about the guys up front on both ends of the football, and that's exactly what they did here. That defense needs to bulk up front. It's that simple, in my opinion, because I think that was some of the detriment because they were putting up points, right? And that defense at times was something that really held them back. So they had to bulk up on the line. They did that. Anytime you can add any help on the offensive line, it's something you do. Again, a roster that's built to win. We've seen it. We saw it. I mean, Josh Allen's apparently 11% better in completion percentage over a year. So listen, the Bills are legit. The Bills, not that we're talking about now, is a team that I think may take a step backwards next year just because of how ridiculous of a year they had this previous year. I guess would be my point there. You having some issues over there, brother? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You're on mute. You're on mute. Okay. All right. So let's jump to the next division. All right, man. So my brother's out of here. It looks like he's having some issues. We'll jump right into the NFC North. I'll just touch on my team. The Lions, in my opinion, had a fantastic draft. You get Sewell in the first round, which was a gift. It really was a gift. Again, in my opinion, I don't know what the hell the Bengals are doing. I don't know what they're doing. You got to protect your quarterback. You almost killed Joey Burrow last year. You decided to go with the shiny new toy in Jamar Chase. Listen, love Jamar Chase. Don't love the pick. And then they go 2 defensive tackles in a row. I mean, if the one thing that this team needs to be is stout up front, and you get that in back-to-back picks. You take St. Brown, the wide receiver. I think the Lions had a nice draft, in my opinion. It's definitely, you can feel the shift in the regime and what they value as far as building from what I was just saying. It's building from the trenches. It's really important, in my opinion. If you can win up front, you can win elsewhere. In the Lions also, making Ragnow the highest paid center, which is well deserved. The offensive line, if you look at it overall, is young. It's good. Guys are under contract. So they're building within. Jared Goff should have time. again, this Lions team, like I touched on with the Jets, maybe not able to win right now. Maybe not there just based off of ripping down Matt Patricia's absolute shit show. Matt Patricia should be embarrassed. Him and Bob Quinn, if what they've left us. I mean, they're drafting Jelani Tavai and just things that don't fit other people's schemes. So you have this Patriot scheme and whatnot. And you have these square pegs that don't fit into round holes, and now you have a roster of really interesting players that really doesn't fit anybody's scheme. I mean, except your own. And when you have, clown ass, GMs and coaches, there's roster turnover. I mean, this team went from Jim Caldwell and what was a playoff team, and we decided to go with whatever the hell it is now, and now our team's the joke, and we're like the second, people are saying we're going to win 4 games, and they're damn right we are. They're 4 or 5 games, and I get it. It just sucks that this is how quick things can change, but you can get things back quickly. I think the Lions have a bad year, another good draft, then we start rolling with the pieces. But overall, the draft, I think you were gone there for a second, but the offensive line of the Detroit Lions is really the highlight in the glaring spot of joy for me. And I think it's got to be for Jared Goff as well. I mean, the guys are under contract. We're building an offensive line, and I think that's the way that you do it. You build the trenches, man.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
What's that?
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, you're very light, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll try it again here in a second, but I want to add to your fact. Your team did an excellent job. I'm going to go back and try to fix it again. I'm going to let you go. Keep talking NFC North.
Let's hop on the Bears. I mean, let's just do it. I mean, the real key is they made their move. They had their guy, and I think once Fields fell past 3, the Bears were on the phone immediately, and they were trying to figure out what they could do to move up. Again, the players, you can argue if you're a Trey Lance guy, if you're a Justin Fields guy. I'm an Ohio State fan. I watch a lot of Justin Fields, and you can give me the bullshit argument, name the last good Ohio State quarterback. Well, every player's a different player. Every player's a different player.
Every player is.
I think Justin Fields has the opportunity to succeed way more than a Dwayne Haskins or a 12-gauge Cardell Jones, or you know what I mean, or go down the list. A Braxton Miller who ended up playing receiver, which was somewhat weird, and he was okay in Houston for a while. But anyway, they went up and they got their guy. The Bears had a solid draft. I like the player Justin Fields. As I was saying earlier, I don't know if I love the fit of Justin Fields. I love Allen Robinson. I love Mooney. I do like these guys. I just don't know if Matt Nagy is just going to just jack this whole thing up, right? I just don't know if Matt Nagy is just going to mess everything up. It's been a questionable shit show as far as the offense is concerned the last couple of years. And I know you got my boy Mitchie, and then you go with Big Dick Nick, and it's just kind of been a disaster. And so then you bring in the Red Rocket, and even nobody felt good about that. Nobody felt good about it. But you went and got your guy, and at least they're thinking that way. Hopefully Nagy and that offense, they can get back to what they were doing, 3 years ago. Because that's where that team was good. And then, they go 2 offensive tackles as well. So I think they're trying to, protect Justin Fields. Justin Fields is going to he's different than anything Matt Nagy has had, which is I'm guessing is the shiny mystery box for Matt Nagy as a play caller, because he's like, hey, shit, I got a guy that can kind of move around and has some mobility and can throw from different I mean, Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles aren't that guy. So I'm thinking for him, in his mind, he's saying, hey, I can maybe open up the playbook and do way different and more things than I could before. When when I had my boy Mitchie and Nick Foles back there, because you're limited of what you can actually do as a play caller when guys have those limitations. Justin Fields' ability to extend plays, get outside the pocket is going to somewhat open up that offense. I'm just not 100% sure on the fit.
Do you think that Justin Fields starts day one?
Yes.
Over Andy Dalton, who they already anointed QB1 with the tweet?
Yeah, but see, this is what happens, man. Like, how many teams have done the same stupid-ass thing? Are you having all kinds of issues here? Are you rocking your phone at this point?
Yeah, I just gave up on the computer.
Okay, that's fair, man. Hey, that's fair. Yeah, if you have anything to say about the Bears, then go after it.
I mean, I love what the Bears did. Let me see if this works. All right, I'm using my computer as a phone holder. But what the Bears did is, you knew the Bears didn't care about future draft picks. This is a team that basically is like, if we don't win this year, we're gone. If we don't identify a future, we're gone. So any draft picks in the future, you can have them. We're going to trade them. And moving up 20-11, when Justin Fields passed by Carolina, and then when he passed by Denver, which shocked me, I thought both those teams should have taken him. When he passed by them, you knew the Bears had to move up. Bears made sense. Move up then, get him. But I do want to go back to your team real quick. I know you were talking about building lines, how you love the fat guys. Your team did that. Excellent job for a first draft by Brad Holmes to do that, to move up or to move around and make sure you get the fat guys to build a line, to build an identity with the kind of head coach you got. So I did want to add that to your point.
Thank you.
But
I love that.
Justin Fields, just excellent player. He's my number 2 player in the draft. I love Justin Fields. I think he's a do-it-all quarterback. But, I mean, I got to slow down my love for him because the Bears, last time they took a quarterback in the first round, I love that pick too. So we'll see.
That guy stinks.
He was not
until he's circling the wagons though.
He is circling the wagons. Wait until he leads them to a Super Bowl after Josh Allen gets hurt.
Wow, why would you say that, man? Jeez. and now I love that you're just all it says under you is Jay.
Yeah, I just tapped real quick. I mean,
that's fair, man. Hey,
I had to get back.
That's Jeremy. If anybody was wondering, he's joining us tonight here on the Full Coast Football Show.
I don't think
it's important. I don't think it's important.
I don't even know what I got going on. I'm like, my computer all of a sudden is like, hey, your microphone's not working, and it wanted to connect to a camera. And then when you could hear me, it was super light. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just go with the phone, make sure I get back on here. Let's move on to the Packers. Yeah. The Packers. Everyone hated their first-round pick, but something I want to add is this is another guy. When we did our mock draft, you had Eric Stokes as a first-round pick. One of the few guys I heard say it. And then they grab him in the first round. People are like, oh, you could have got him later. Listen, if you think you can get a guy, you get him. That's all you do. Eric Stokes, absolutely talented. A lot of people are like, oh, you got to get, if you're getting a guy out of Georgia, you get Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell is all athletic. And then from there on, you're like, whatever, you might have a player. But what they did is, I mean, they basically were like, hey, we're going to add Josh Myers. You got to replace Corey Lindsey. Amari Rodgers is the one pick I do like. You're going to have an A. Rodgers on your team.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You like Amari Rodgers because they finally picked a damn skill position for Aaron Rodgers. That's why you like
Amari Rodgers.
But it's like, again, they just continue to neglect adding any weapon until it's convenient for them. If I'm Aaron Rodgers too, I'm pissed off. Like you're going to go until the third round until you. After last year, you decided to take a quarterback and you took 0 wide receivers. This year, you're going to do the same shit and not grab a weapon that was still available. There was people still available in the first round for them to take. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Listen, Amari Rodgers has a ton of talent, but he's not perfect. He's got issues. You can knock him off the line easily. He's not Elijah Moore. He's not Rashad Bateman, guys they could have moved up or even got where they were at. But for what they did, it's just a solid draft. I mean, that's what Green Bay's done recently is no one's won. I think only one team has won more games than them in 10 years. And yes, a lot of that is Aaron Rodgers, but they do solid things. I mean, this was a solid draft, nothing special. I mean, I can't look at this draft and go, yeah, these guys are all Pro Bowlers. I don't feel that. I feel like they're all solid. I mean, and I feel
they had a middle of the road draft at a low position. So I think it's a good draft.
And speaking of teams that just had a basic draft that was solid, Look at what the Minnesota Vikings did. I mean, Minnesota moved back. You got Christian Darrisaw at 23. Solid guy to play left tackle eventually. He's got all the traits you want, but he's still a project. And at 23, that's usually what you get. And then they added Kellen Mond, who was Chris Sims had his number 3 quarterback. Kellen Mond has talent. He's athletic. Like that. But when you're adding players, especially at the quarterback position, you usually want guys who are similar to what you have. So that way, if one guy goes down, the new guy comes in, and you're not looking at a whole mess of things going on where it's a completely different type of play.
Is this where you try to talk people into Kellen Mond? Because I'm here for it. Just go right ahead.
No.
Okay. All right, good.
Kellen Mond's fine. He's an okay player.
No,
but that's it.
Yeah, I hate Kellen Mond. Not personally. Like, I'm sure he's a wonderful fellow. I don't think Kellen Mond's gonna be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's anything special, but he'll be an okay player.
I mean, I watched it. I mean, and he was an okay player in college.
But he's the next Dak Prescott, man. That's what everyone thinks.
All right, Jay.
You're here with Jay and Dave today, but
yeah, Jay and Dave.
But my favorite, this whole show's changing. We're back, and it's just new names. We're going short now, gangsta. The Vikings did land one of my favorite players, a guy I had top 32. 27 of my 32 guys went in the first round, which I thought was nice. That's the highest I've had in a while.
That's pretty damn good.
Vikings did land Wyatt Davis, who I had as the number 1 guard. I love Wyatt Davis. Last year, he wasn't in shape. He didn't look that great. But this was a guy who thought they weren't playing football, and then all of a sudden Big Ten's like, hey, we're back, and he wasn't necessarily in football shape. 2019 film on Wyatt Davis, I don't think there's a better guard in college football. That kid is a sleeper and a stud. I mean, they got Keenan Nwangwu later on out of Iowa State. He's okay. But, I mean, this whole draft, it's solid players. Patrick Jones could be the next Daniel Hunter. I mean, Chaz Surratt out of North Carolina. Athletic, okay, nothing special to me as well. I mean, this whole draft, this whole division, solid drafting, nothing super special to me, except Justin Fields.
Stupid. I hate the Bears so much.
Even though I do like what your team did because they did what they needed to do. They didn't say,
Goff's going to be out there slinging 2-yard outs just like you couldn't even seen. We don't even have receivers anymore in our team.
No, but
we don't have Galladay. We don't have Jones.
Do you talk about adding Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I did. I like it. I like it because I think he's a space player, and I think he's going to be good with what they want to do.
I think the perfect setup for him is in the slot with, I can't think of your tight end all of a sudden. Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson.
Darren Fells. All he does is catch touchdowns.
That's what he does,
but adding Hawkinson or adding St. Brown next to Hawkinson as a slot guy, I think that's a perfect setup because it's going to take a lot of pressure off of TJ Hawkinson going down the field.
Who's the Lions' best wide receiver then? Is it Quintez Cephas?
I mean, Tyrell Williams, if he plays.
Tyrell Williams. Yeah, it's not great.
We'll see. I mean,
hey, listen, man. DeAndre Swift time.
It is. And
DeAndre Swift may have more targets than any of the wide receivers on the team.
He could. Jared Goff loves his dump offs. Let's move on to the AFC North. We'll start with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this division. The pick at 24, Najee Harris. Everyone knew that was a Steelers pick.
Yeah, it was weird.
However, after that pick, I mean, what did they do? I mean, Pat Freiermuth at tight end. I mean, I tweeted out how annoying it's going to be. Because every time this dude catches a 3-yard catch, it's going to be Moose from all the Yinzers up there in Pittsburgh. He's a fine player.
Terrible. But he was overdrafted. There was better tight ends on the board. I mean, it didn't. That pick made no sense.
For me, Freiermuth was probably the second best tight end, but I still want to touch him there. You need offensive line help. You got no one to block for a 97-year-old quarterback back there who can barely move at this point in his career. And then you draft a running back in the first round and still don't add anyone to block for him until round 3 when you get Kendrick Green.
That's where I think their thinking's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that James Conner and Benny Snell couldn't produce or be even decent. Your line was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And Villanueva's gone, who was terrible.
Yeah, and people freaking out like, oh, the Ravens got Villanueva. Yeah,
he's not good
7 years ago.
Yeah, no,
exactly. Great human
he's
being.
Not good.
But he's not.
So
he's
regardless of who you have at running back, which Pittsburgh Steelers have this fascination with beefy running backs. It's just, I'm not saying
they like them thick.
I'm not saying Najee Harris is like a fat dude at all, but he's
plus
a big
2.0.
Right? Like, I mean, they think he's going to be their Derrick Henry. But again, you haven't fixed the problems up front. Actually, your offensive line's gotten worse, in my opinion, in this offseason. It's like you didn't even think about it until you took what's the Dan Moore dude out of A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a pick that, but again, like that was, it clearly wasn't a priority for the Steelers to build any offensive line, knowing that what you do is run the football, right? That's what you do. And that's what you need to do at this point. I mean, you can't have Roethlisberger throwing 40 to 45 times a game. You just can't have it. You need to be able to move the ball on the ground. They weren't able to do it last year. But if for whatever reason, their tunnel vision thinks that it's the running back that's going to fix this problem instead of the offensive line, and that's just not the case, in my opinion.
Nope. I mean, Kendrick Green can play anywhere interior. He's a fine player. We'll see what he does, but you really needed to beef up that offensive line, and I thought you should have done it early. Najee Harris, fine. It's a luxury pick, but you weren't a team that can do luxury picks. Speaking of luxury picks, the Cincinnati Bengals, with the 5th pick overall after your quarterback got annihilated and knocked out for the season, after he was the first overall pick and looked like he was going to be excellent. Penei Sewell sitting right there. Everyone says he's the future Hall of Famer. If you had to pick one in this draft, it's him. They go Jamar Chase. And I love Jamar Chase. And listen, I get the pick. I love it.
Terrible pick.
I mean, you said you were going to rip it if they did it. And I said they were going to do it. And yeah.
It's embarrassing. What are you doing? He almost died. What have you done to upgrade the offensive line? Like what are we doing here? Like if Jeff Driscoll's playing quarterback, no other shit matters. Jamar Chase doesn't matter.
No.
He's irrelevant at that point. Like I don't know I don't get how they don't understand that. I just thought that it was an easy pick. I know you like the shiny weapon. There's weapons there. It's not like the cupboard's dry. I mean, I think T. Higgins is really good. I really do. And I think Tyler Boyd's a nice player.
Great slot guy.
And so it's like that was definitely the luxury pick, and I had a feeling they were going to do it, but it's just like, man, you almost ended Burrow's career last year.
They did sign Riley Reif to play right tackle, but we know Riley Reif's on the downside of his career.
I know a lot about Riley Reif.
And you've got, Jonah Williams playing left tackle, who injured his rookie season and then was basically a rookie last year. I mean, are you that sold on these guys that you can pass and then go, oh, in round 2 we'll get Jackson Carman, who I thought was a 4th-round pick, who he went into Clemson as one of the top offensive line recruits in the nation, I believe, and he just never got better. He was one of those kids who just, I'm bigger than you, and that's what I do. His technique never got better, and you're going to draft this kid to play guard. It's going to be interesting there. They really are
just gotten the receiver in the 2nd round. I mean, Jamar Chase is by far, in my opinion, here.
Yeah,
I guess I'm going on the screen compared to the guys that were here. I really do. I really feel that way. I think Jamar Chase is a guy. I think people just don't remember because he didn't play last year.
Yep.
And I get the Jamar Chase, and I'm sure Burrow was probably in their ears saying, "Oh man, it'd be nice to play with a guy that I played with." You know what I mean? And I get that. And Jamar Chase might be a really awesome player, and I think he's going to be. But man, oh man, again, what the hell is a team without their quarterback? I just think that with Sewell sitting there, he was the pick all day long. I mean, he was mauling guys at the age of 19 at Oregon.
Yep.
Like just, I mean,
mauling them, being bigger.
Nasty.
And his technique was good. That's the thing. His technique stayed good.
He is nasty.
The thing that bothered me most about the Bengals draft is at 38, you're sitting there. Tevin Jenkins is available, who I had his 1st-round pick. One of the 5 guys who didn't get picked in the first round that I had as a top 32. Tevin Jenkins is sitting there, who is way better than Jackson Carman. And then you trade out of 38. Like, okay. I mean, that, whatever. They know football. We'll see how it works out. Jonah Williams better step up his gameplay like a first-round pick. Riley Reif needs to go back to his Green Bay days. Or was it Green Bay that he played in? Detroit Green Bay.
Yeah,
has he played for every team in the NFC North?
He played for Detroit for a while, and then played for the yeah. I mean, he's a guy. He's a guy, right? Yep. He's a dude. He's a dude that's big and can block people to an average extent.
Yeah. I mean, you got to really hope on him because you're playing in a division that's got some mean edge rushers. I mean, you're dealing with the TJ Watts. You're dealing with Jadeveon Clowney now, who can push the pocket, may not get to the quarterback. Myles Garrett, of course. I mean, and then we talk Baltimore. Baltimore kept their front 7 together. And then they add Jason Oweh from Penn State, who never got to the quarterback last year, but is an athletic freak and then changed his name after draft. So he's now Odafe Oweh. So when you hear Odafe Oweh, that's Jason Oweh from Penn State. But Baltimore, they had another edge guy and Rashad Bateman in round 1. I did like both.
What happened to normal names, dude? Where are normal names anymore?
Hey,
where's like Sean Johnson? Where's Greg Rogers? Like, where are these names? Like, the Lions drafted an entire draft of names that I need to now figure out how the hell to say, so I don't sound like a jackass when I come on this show. I want a Ben Dean, like, or a Jackson Stewart. Like, give me something.
Listen, the Ravens drafted outside of Rashad Bateman. They got Rashad Bateman, Odafe Oweh, Ben Cleveland. That's a simple one. Brandon Stevens. Listen, Ben Cleveland's a mountain of a man. He's like 350 pounds. He looks like the mountain from Game of Thrones. He's a fine pick. He can be a mauler.
Cleveland in a row. Remember Ezra was last year?
Yep. Tylan Wallace, an interesting pick for Baltimore, round 4. Their most interesting pick for me is a guy they took round 5, pick 160, cornerback out of Ohio State, Shaun Wade. Shaun Wade going into last year, everyone's like, this is the next great Ohio State corner. We saw what he did in 2019 out of the slot. He says, listen, guys, in the slot, he was a great player. I want to cover the best players. I want to cover this. Put me outside. You put him outside. He wanted to be out there. And then he just looked like he didn't give a shit, and he got burnt constantly. Shaun Wade was awful last year. Now, as far as
Ohio State fans will be able to tell you, burnt on multiple occasions.
Yeah. But Shaun Wade, there's so much talent there, especially as a slot guy. He's got that quick twitch movement. If you can find what motivates him and keep him in the slot, he's got first-round ability. I mean, this whole draft, you traded Orlando Brown, and you've added Villanueva, but I was reading Ben Cleveland, thinking of Ben Cleveland. But Rashad Bateman's probably their best overall pick. I love Rashad Bateman. I think he can do a lot of things, but that's another receiver that is he going to be able to do anything in this offense?
No.
It comes back to that.
He's not. He's not.
Tyler Wallace, tons of talent, but we'll see.
I feel like Lamar Jackson had like 1,900 air yards last year. I don't give a shit if you got Calvin Johnson out there. He was terrible last year. So I think being a receiver for the Baltimore Ravens is like
being a running back or quarterback right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers with no line.
It's like being a running back for the Texas Tech football team that's running the Mike Leach offense is what it's like.
I like that. That's a great analogy.
Because it's just your yards are screenplays. They're 2-yard outs. They're slants. They're tiny curls. Like there's no like. Again, he had like 33 danger throws last year and like 19 good, like, perfect throws. And he threw for no yardage. And being a tight end, and not to get into or being a wide receiver, I would not want to have any stock, any wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Is Lamar improving as a quarterback. We'll see that next year. Next year, he had a great
Next
year.
year's is the breaking year. Next year is the
year. We got to
year.
see what he does. Yeah. But moving on in this division, the last team we'll talk about, the Cleveland Browns. I thought they had the best draft in the entire division. Greg Newsome was my 23rd ranked player. They get him at 26. You need corners on this team. Guys who can be on the field. I mean, you talk about all the time how soft the secondary is. You're right. They're soft secondary. We'll see if they can stay healthy. If that secondary stays healthy, very good. Round 2, you trade up. You had Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who we had as a top 20 pick. All of a sudden, he drops down to 52 due to a heart issue.
Right before the draft. There's always something. It's either a gas mask, weed smoking, or like a heart fucking attack. Like, you know what I mean?
It's like one time you're like, give me the heart issue over the gas mask and weed.
Yeah, exactly.
But Owusu-Koramoah, everyone's like, oh, the Browns are finally getting a linebacker. Yes, technically he's a linebacker, but he's not a guy who ever played in between the tackles on defense. Always outside, always moving around in space. He's a weapon. He's a rover. He's a joker.
I love him. He's a wild card. You can do so many different things with him, which you can't do with like other play. Like, you know what I mean? You have options.
Then they add the poor man's version of Owusu-Koramoah in the 5th round, and Tony Fields. I love Tony Fields because he's the exact same player. He's just not as dynamic. And then the Browns are like, you know what? We're going to get Tommy Togiai, defense tackle out of Ohio State, who dominated the second half of last year. Was probably the Buckeyes' defensive MVP down the stretch. And then they're like, we're also going to get some speed. People think the worst pick, Anthony
Schwartz, dude. That's the guy. He's the speedster.
A guy over 6 foot. That's a wide receiver over 6 foot. You're like, okay, that's pretty good. You want 6 foot receivers who also runs a sub 4.340. Usually the sub 4.340 guys are the little dudes. It's a big kid, strong. He's still kind of learning the receiver a little bit, but the talent's there, and he doesn't need to do anything except for right now take the top off the defense and scare the shit out of other teams. And then you had Demetric Felton, who was a sweetheart of the Senior Bowl, who didn't test well at his pro day. Everyone jumped on those pro day numbers. Oh, is he really that slow? Is he not that dynamic? You watch this kid on the field, he's a matchup nightmare. He did everything out of the backfield. They have him listed as a wide receiver. He's a running back. He's going to be the 3rd running back on this team. And he can do a little bit of everything. I absolutely loved what the Browns did. Yes, they didn't add an edge player, but we talked about this edge class. Wasn't that great? So why force a spot when you didn't need to?
Did you not know that, like, you get to run 40-yard dashes straight line every time in the NFL, every play?
Oh, that's my bad. Shit. I never.
Did you not realize how much this matters on quickness? Like, just because you get to run like 40 straight yards and hit somebody, you didn't know that?
Nope.
Okay,
man.
Yeah, it changes everything. It really does. Yeah, it's a bullshit thing. Like, nobody cares.
We're a team here.
Like, it's like, again, it's like this guy ran a 4.40. It's like, well, you guys are on these sketchy. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody, like, receivers, yes. Your boy Schwartz, it does matter that he can run a 40. You know what I mean? That's different.
You catch a corner out of his back pedal and he can't catch up. Schwartz is gone. I mean, you're not catching up to that dude. You're absolutely right. But I mean, what do you think about this whole division? Who do you think had the best draft?
The Browns. Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I mean, not to, build you up over there, but
how weird is this? Our teams both had pretty solid drafts.
I think that the Lions had the best draft in their division as well. I mean, I don't know, but Cleveland's roster. Cleveland had the advantage of the roster is good enough to where they can start taking players that really fit what they do. The Lions, the Lions aren't there right now.
Yep. And that's the thing with the draft. That's why you can't, we don't like a guy at this spot, but maybe it fits this team better than it does other teams. Now, we did hate on, the Bengals taking Jackson Carman. He wasn't the best guy there, and you traded back. Didn't make sense. But I'm with you. I love what the Browns did. Now, let's move on to the NFC East. NFC East, this whole draft was weird for each team. Like, Dallas trading with Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets Devontae Smith. Giants fans lose their mind if you haven't seen the video.
Then the dude punched that out. The fucking wall.
And his wife probably kicked his ass off camera.
Go upstairs. Go upstairs. She was yelling at us. Dude, my wife would have took the kids and went to her mom's house. And I swear to God, if I was punching holes in the wall. Hey, I'm a Lions fan. I would have punched so many damn holes in the wall over
Yeah.
the years. Like, I'm not going to do that.
If we are getting pissed off about draft picks to the point we're punching walls, like, bro, you got more issues to deal with.
Therapy.
And your team still did pretty damn good. I mean, you made a trade back. You ended up with some solid players there in New York. I mean, let me pull them up. I don't have it in front of me here.
Questionable Kadarius Toney first pick.
I mean,
Questionable.
Kadarius Toney he's a luxury pick, but did you have the chance to be a luxury pick there? Kadarius Toney with the ball in his hands, maybe best player in the entire draft. But you got to get the ball in his hands, and his
space doesn't work like it does in college either.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, you're not in space like you are in. And I know he's played in the SC, but god damn, that seemed like a bad pick to me. It just did. It just felt like a reach.
And it's an interesting spot because Jacksonville said they would have taken him at 25. Yes, there's all that talent there, but you got to find ways to get the ball in his hands. Are they going to do that? Is Jason Garrett going to be finding ways to get the ball in his hands in space? Got to do that. But then you come back, you get Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. Many people had him as a top edge, first round guy, so that kind of helped. The rest of the draft, okay, Aaron Robinson, fine. I mean, they're a solid draft for the Giants.
That's fine. We know Gettleman's a top-notch drafter.
Gettleman just does Gettleman things, man.
Yeah.
And it's the first time he's ever
Gettleman
traded
doesn't
back.
have draft boards. Gettleman just picks. He doesn't care.
He's like, let's just go with this guy.
Yeah.
They're like, Dave, we got him in the 7th round pick. I'm the GM here. Is Trevor Lawrence still on the board?
Yeah.
Anybody? No. But
all right.
The Eagles made that trade with the Cowboys. They get Devontae Smith. You like the Devontae Smith pick for the Eagles?
Yeah.
At that spot?
I feel like it's a good fit. I mean, I do. I feel like it's a good fit. I mean, clearly they're giving Jalen Hurts the weapon. I mean, again, they have, I think, what could be an underrated offense next year, depending on what you think of Jalen Hurts, because you could have the opinion that, he's not the guy, which I actually may hold that opinion. I'm actually not really sure.
No.
I can't sit here tonight and tell you one way or another what I feel about Jalen Hurts. If I had to guess, I would think he's a backup quarterback in this league, but I could be wrong.
It's going to be interesting to see what he develops into.
Yeah, but no, then they went guard with Landon Dickerson and Milton Williams. I like out of Louisiana Tech, actually.
Love Milton Williams.
Sneakers, sleepy pick. I feel like out of a smaller school. And I like it. So, I mean, I do like adding the weapon of Devontae Smith. I feel like if you're trying to figure out if you got somebody or you don't at quarterback, you got to at least try to provide them all the weapons that you could possibly do. And that's what I think your team did a great job of, to be honest with you. I feel like you guys tried to do everything to put pieces around Baker.
Yeah.
And that helped him because it's important. Like, you can't be running out, just bum ass dudes that can't get separation. So I think Devontae Smith, although he weighs 100 pounds, he's shifty. He gets open. I mean, when you see the tape, I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like, I know his weight's really not great as far as like a spec on an NFL draft board, but dude, he won the Heisman Trophy. Like, the dude's a baller. Like, he can get open. He'll make plays. I mean, will he stand up as far as his body? You know what? Why not? I'm not thinking that he's going to be a bust at all. I like Devontae Smith.
No. I think he's going to be a hell of a football player. If you're not getting touched, you're not getting hurt, usually. But the big pick for me was Kenneth Gainwell. I really love that pick, running back out of Memphis. 2 years ago, great film. Kid can be really good. They do need help after Miles Sanders because Miles Sanders doesn't stay on the field. We'll see what they do. That's going to be an interesting offense. I do like what they did. Let's move on to the
Why
Washington
is Miles
football
Sanders
team.
like the biggest crush of every fantasy football player ever? I don't understand that.
He had all the skills to be perfect in that offense, and now you're like, is he really this guy? Is he going to stay healthy? It's really hard to say. I mean, coming out, I thought he would be the do-it-all back. I thought it was perfect fit, and now it's what is he with Jalen Hurts? We also thought Carson Wentz was good then, too. And we'll see what Carson Wentz is this year. Washington football team, Jamin Davis, the linebacker out of Kentucky. Did you like that pick? First round, 19 overall.
I think no. Actually, I don't. I think they could have taken Michael Parsons, who I think was the right pick to take. Where did Dallas take Michael Parsons at?
11.
Okay, so they could have taken Mark. They could have taken Mark Parsons.
Owusu Koromoa was there. I mean, the thing with Davis is
it just seems like a leap. The linebacking core in this draft wasn't elite. It's just the way it was, in my opinion, at least. So I don't hate the pick.
He's just to me, it's a guy who moved up boards because of his workouts. He's basically a one-year wonder. Does he have the football instincts? We'll see. Is he an athletic freak? Absolutely.
Well,
and you come back.
He's a guy that at the combine is just going to move up draft boards because of the combine. That's just the way it works.
He would have been probably a top 15 pick if we would have had an actual combine this year. Sam Cosmi out of Texas, a tackle in the second round, like him, would have thought the Bengals should have taken him instead of where they got. Diami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina. When things broke down last year, Brown was a guy they loved to find almost as much as Daz Newsome.
Brown, you can count on the Brown, UPS.
Damn right. Shaka Toney's a guy who's older, but
great name.
He's a guy who can really be solid as a 7th round pick. I mean, they got a long snapper in the 6th round. I mean, if I'm going long snapper, Cameron Cheeseman, he was my number 1 long snapper, but we'll see what he develops into. This whole draft, I mean, it's just unique athletes is really what it came down to. They're just athletes. We'll see how they fit them.
Are athletes?
Maybe not. Yeah, he actually is. He's a pretty good dude. I mean, he gets off the ball. Right, he made a lot of tackles. He was one of the few long snappers whose names you heard when you watched Michigan.
Cheese man.
Or any football game. Plus, every time I heard cheese on TV, I was like, you know what?
Well, Michigan punted a lot because their program's trash.
They did. I mean, this whole draft, it's athletes. We'll see how they put them together. That's the key. It's athletes. Nothing more. We'll see how they develop into football players. So let's move on to the final team in this division. They took Micah Parsons, number 12 overall. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Spent a lot of their draft capital on defense, and they needed to. Kelvin Joseph, round 2. That pick was sketchy, but it seems like a good Dan Quinn pick. I mean, the big D lineman out of UCLA, getting Golston out of Iowa. Linebacker out of LSU, Jabril Cox. Thought that was a steal in round 4. I mean, the rest of the draft, it's an okay draft, nothing special. I mean, Micah Parsons, what is he? Is he going to be as good as people project him to be? I mean, and he's going to wear number 11 now, which is weird, but whatever. What do you think about the Cowboys draft?
I like the Micah Parsons pick. I don't necessarily love the rest of it. I think Micah Parsons, again, the Lions fans, and this was talk, Micah Parsons 7. I didn't like Micah Parsons at 7. I liked him at 11 through 14. So it was like if the Lions decided to move back and get him at that spot, I was completely okay with it. And so I think it's a good pick, especially with Sean Lee retiring. I think he'll fit right in. I think he's a good player. Again, the maturity, the off the field, weird shit that we read about Michael Parsons, which is somewhat concerning. Which makes sense. Jerry Jones would take him. But I like that pick.
Loves the danger.
But again, they definitely spent capital defensively, which they needed to. I think Dak coming back, it's a different team. It's a playoff team, in my opinion. I mean, everybody wants to hate on the Cowboys, but I think they certainly have weapons. Mm-hmm. I mean, with CeeDee Lamb and Dak, hopefully with a healthy season, because I think Dak is a pretty damn good quarterback, and you can argue that if you'd like, but I like what he brings. There's weapons there. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. I mean, there's weapons for days. Ezekiel Elliott, like that team offensively is fine. I think they did the right thing trying to bulk up the defense because essentially the defense is shit there. It was terrible last year.
Beyond shit.
Yeah, it's like, and I know shit defense. But yeah, so they had in my opinion, they had a good draft, but again, it's not a great draft in my opinion. I like the Parsons pick, but outside of that,
it was a draft that filled the needs they needed to do. It was nothing special. They just did what they needed to do, and I respect Jerry for sticking to that and not going, well, let's get this guy here. Like, they could have taken Devontae Smith. It wouldn't have surprised me had they done that. But they did the smart thing, added a third-round pick, dropped back 2 spots, got Parsons. Parsons, athletically best linebacker in the
I want to
draft.
see like Jerry in the war room, like the full footage of it. Because like, what's Jerry doing? Well, he's probably smoking a cigar with a glass of whiskey, I would assume, bourbon potentially. I just think he would be electric just hearing what Jerry, because Jerry's basically saying, F you, Mike McCarthy, I'm taking whoever I want.
And yeah, that's what you expect out of Jerry. But I mean, overall, just a solid draft. I mean, Jerry's going to do Jerry things, and for him to hold back and not overly do Jerry things, interesting to me. Let's move on. Let's go to AFC South. What do you say? AFC South. Of course, we're going to start with the team that had the number 1 pick, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Taking Trevor Lawrence, I think that was a no-brainer. What did you think about Travis Etienne at 25?
Urban. That's a 100% Urban pick. You know what I mean? Urban wants weapons. Urban's an offensive guy, although we know his special teams background.
Yep.
But I think Urban, and this might be one of his flaws, is he wants the flashy toys out there.
He does.
And so I don't think it's a bad pick, but like
James Robinson was pretty good.
You had a breakout player in James Robinson last year. So is that really necessary? I didn't love it. And Travis Etienne, he's a great player. Yeah, I think he's going to have a nice career. But again, running backs, the value of running backs, in my opinion, is just shit. I don't need it. I'll get a running back. If I have an offensive line, I'll find a running back. And so I didn't like that pick much. But again, how are you going to knock a team that got Trevor Lawrence? I'm not going to hate on it. There's weapons there, dude. There's so many weapons there. I mean, he's walking into Laviska Shenault. He's walking into DJ Chark. I mean, there's weaponry. Now you got ETN. It's like it's not like he's walking into a situation that most number 1 overall picks do, in my opinion, as far as the offensive side of the football. The defense, the problem is with the Jags, they just jacked it. Like they had to mortgage off their defense because they were just ran like shit.
Yep.
And like they made it to what? The AFC Championship, and like
4
with
years
Blake Bortles. So, and then you have this, and the defense got him there, and then you started to like Jalen Ramsey went. I mean, they just started pawning off everybody from the defense, and here we are. So now it's like a team that actually needs defense, and the offense is something that you're not necessarily worried about too much.
And they did add some on defense. Andre Cisco, I like Andre Cisco. Coming off an injury, though, they added Tyson Campbell, who Tyson Campbell has all the things you want out of a corner, but the instincts aren't there, which can you get him to learn instincts? I mean, at this point, shouldn't kind of have those. We'll see. Jay Tufeli out of Southern Cal, first-round pick, talent at times, but just flashes of it. And they had an overall pretty damn good draft. I like Etienne. I love Etienne. He was my number 1 running back, but I mean, I really like James Robinson, but when you think about Urban's like, no, give me the 5-star, give me the athletes, and you put these two together, we'll see what they do. But hopefully Robinson doesn't get forgotten because the kid played excellent last year, did a hell of a job. Let's move on.
I agree. No, we're good. We're just moving right along.
Indianapolis, Kwity Paye at 21.
Fell right
adding
to him.
to
Great pick.
I mean, adding to DeForest Buckner on that defensive line, I thought that was a pretty damn good pick. I mean, I like what the Colts did. Solid draft as always. I mean, safety Sean Davis in the 5th.
Chris Ballard knows what he's doing. And Chris Ballard is probably a top 5 GM, in my opinion, in this league. And listen, fucking Andrew Luck just quit, man. He's quit. So like give him credit. We'll see what Carson Wentz does. Love the draft. Kwity falling all the way to them. I saw the video. They were ecstatic. Yeah. They couldn't believe what the Giants did. Yeah, man, listen, I think Indianapolis is in good hands. That's a well-ran organization over there. Even though Jim Irsay gets busted with all kinds of drugs at one time, but it's not important. It's just he's a new man now, and so I like Indianapolis draft.
Yes, I do like Indianapolis draft as well. And you're right, Chris Ballard just continually does good things. And then we're going to move on to a team that kind of does things that you're like, I mean, Tennessee Titans. Last year, Isaiah Wilson, first-round pick, already gone. So this year you think, okay, they're going to play it safe. No. Number 22, they get Caleb Farley. Maybe the top corner in the draft if healthy, but he's had back issues. What do you think about the Farley pick there at 22?
It was a reach, wasn't it?
I mean, talent-wise, no. But based on his injury issues, I mean, he was sliding. And, I mean, I think if he fell to 26, that would have been the Browns pick. I thought at 22, Newsome would have been the pick for the Titans, but they went opposite spots.
The thing with them is they're somewhat built to win now, right?
They are.
Okay, so where is the flaw on that team? Hey, kitty cat. Oh, lights went out.
Cat knocked everything down.
Nice.
What?
So where's the flaw on that team? So because let's be honest, I mean, Tennessee's a playoff team. They're a team that we expect to be there. So where's the flaw in the team? And that's where I think their value could have been used elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Is because I feel like you could take best player available at that point, which you're telling me that you think that they did.
I love Caleb Farley. I think he's got Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters type talent where he can be a ball hawk, where he can shut down your opposing team. But that back issue, man, NFL, he gets clipped in the back. Is that back going to flare up? What are the issues there? It's going to be interesting. I mean, you look at their second-round pick, Dylan Radunes from North Dakota State, the quarterback factory there. This guy, just a monster. Hell of a football player, but second round, I don't know if that's too high for him. We'll see how he develops. It's going to be interesting. But I mean, you're right. This team is set up to win now, and you would expect them to get guys who are going to help immediately. Is Farley going to help immediately? Is Radunes good enough to start immediately? You get linebacker Monty Rice later on. I mean, he's competitive.
I also just don't think it was a good corner draft. I don't. I mean, I think the corners in this draft were not as good as they were this time last year when we were sitting here talking.
I thought this was a pretty
Jeff
solid
Okudah had a really, really rough year.
I mean, I think the top 5 or 6 corners were really good, and then it was like, after that, it was all guys who you had to really trust. Is their athletic ability going to meet up to their instincts? What are they going to do? But I could have done some other things there. I mean, Farley, I think they should have taken Newsome. I think he's ready to start day one, but I'm happy he fell to my team. And who knows? I mean, it's tough to say exactly what he's going to do. That back injury just really worries me. And then let's get to this last team as we talk about being worried. So you get to the Houston Texans. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick. And then they get a third-round pick, number 67 overall. And the last player you would think they would need going into this offseason originally is a quarterback, and they take a quarterback. Davis Mills out of Stanford, 6'4", big kid, strong arm, ceiling is good. But what do you think about this as their first pick in the draft?
I'm not gonna go all crazy about their draft. I like Nico Collins. It's fine. Yeah. But what the hell? I mean, I'm not gonna go on a rant, but just they don't even know what they're doing. They clearly don't even know if Deshaun Watson's going to play or if he's not. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take some random mediocre-ass quarterback for no reason at all because we're the Houston Texans. Because that's what we're going to do. Bill O'Brien is still making the picks for the team. I can guarantee you it from some bunker somewhere around this country. It's 100% a fact. It's embarrassing. They're an embarrassing organization. My team's embarrassing. The Houston Texans are a just trash organization. It's just that simple.
I mean, did you think that they had no choice but to go with that best quarterback available there if they don't think they're going to have Deshaun Watson?
No, not at all.
No?
There's veteran quarterbacks out there that are way fucking better.
And they've got Tyrod Taylor already.
Yeah. So no, that's terrible. They're just a shit run or they're a poverty franchise, just like my franchise. It's just an embarrassment all the time. Like what they literally fired Bill O'Brien to hire Bill O'Brien. Like what is happening? Like all they've done is mess things up. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. J.J. Watt's gone. They've got no value for anything. Their drafts have been embarrassing. All they do is jack shit up. I'm sorry. It's a poverty ass franchise.
And you know what? I can't argue any of that. They've not been run well. I mean, that's just what they are. So let's move on. Let's go to the NFC South.
David Johnson. You got fucking David Johnson. David Johnson.
We're trying not to bring up the corpse of David Johnson, who's still in the league. And then you're like, let's get Mark Ingram. Let's have all 35-year-old running backs.
Yeah, let's get Duke Johnson.
I thought Duke was going to be really good. And
he sucks.
No. Hey, the 1 year with Hugh, when he got the ball, he was solid. But then they're like, we're not going to give him the ball because Hugh Jackson's here, baby. Don't worry about it. Carolina, AFC or NFC North. I like what Carolina did with J.C. Horn at 8 overall, but shouldn't they have taken Justin Fields?
Yeah. Well, that.
I mean, we had Nick Wilson on the show talking Panthers, and he's like, if Justin Fields is there, I'm ordering my jersey. And then they just break his heart.
They have to take him. Because what are you confident in? What do you feel like that you're going into next year with as far as a quarterback that you feel 100% confident in? You have a special asset at the HB. Mm-hmm. Like your halfback is special. There's actually weapons. So Justin Fields was the pick. And they didn't make it. It baffles me. It really does. Because why? What is the reasoning behind them not taking Justin Fields unless you just hate Justin Fields as a player? Which I find hard to believe.
Because Sam Darnold's younger than Joe Burrow, Drew. Come on. That's the only positive people give anymore for Sam Darnold, is that he's still young. And listen, I love J.C. Horn. Baller.
Anytime I can take a quarterback that might be better than the quarterback I have, I'm taking that quarterback every single time. Every single time. I'll draft a quarterback every single draft. Every draft I had, I draft a quarterback. Whether it's in the first round, I don't give a shit. I'm drafting. If I think he's better than the guy I got, I'm drafting one.
I can't argue that because you win with the quarterback in this league. Round 2, they take Terrace Marshall. I like that pick. Big kid out of LSU, done a lot of good things. Brady Christensen. I mean, they had a really solid draft. They got Boyd Chuba, 126. I mean, they got a long snapper too. I like what Carolina did. I thought they had a really strong draft. But yes, they should have taken Justin Fields. I mean, that was the clear pick there. I get it. He's a new guy you traded for, but you get
to me it came down to feelings, dude. They thought they hurt who they deemed to be, or it's they believe in Sam Darnold, which I think's dumb. I mean, listen, Sam Darnold might be fine, but I'm not putting all my. If I have the opportunity to draft Justin Fields, I'm taking Justin Fields.
You know how many times we said it on the show? You can only blame Adam Gase so much for what you saw out of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to the Saints, who I just did not like their draft at all. Peyton Turner, number 28 overall. I thought he was a top 100 player. There's skills there. He's a good kid, but I thought that was a reach. Pete Werner, who I loved at Ohio State. Baron Browning was the better player there at 60. They took him anyway. Sure. Paulson Adebo, fine. He's a lanky corner out of Stanford. Ian Book at 133. I thought he was a 6th or 7th round pick. But hey, if you're a corner or you're a quarterback, I don't care where you get picked. Sean Payton will make you a solid guy and put you on the field somehow. But I didn't really like this draft. What did you like about it?
Well, I guess they in their mind they plugged pretty much every position outside of safety and guard or center guard. Mm-hmm. But again, this is a team, and we talked about it, this is a team that's the roster is elite. Like, this is probably the best roster in the NFL, in my opinion.
It's up there.
I think it's one of the best rosters in the NFL, top 5 for sure.
Is that's with Jameis at quarterback, or are we talking Taysom Hill?
Roster. I said roster. I didn't say just specifically quarterback. Let's back up there a little bit. Jameis got LASIK. Watch your mouth. He's gonna be seeing this James might throw for 7,050 touchdowns, but we'll see.
I'm here for it.
It was not a overall great draft in my opinion. I think they reached a little bit, but I think they reached for holes that they felt they needed to. So again, on paper, I think they definitely reach, but at the same time, when you're a roster again, that's in the spot where you could take a luxury pick, or you can go get a guy that you like at a specific position, even though it might be overdrafting him. That's your guy. You're gonna go get him. I think that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean it could be fine. I could be wrong. We'll see. I think you had better options where you were at. You could have added another wide receiver. I think you still need that position, but we'll see.
I agree with that.
Move on to a team that I think it might be the best roster in the entire league, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, yes, you have a 76-year-old quarterback, but you did add as heir apparent, possibly, in Florida quarterback Kyle Trask at 64, who is maybe the only quarterback in the league who's less mobile than Tom Brady.
Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing right now? Is that what you're gonna? That's really what you're gonna say? That's what we're gonna do?
It's possible. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. It's a possibility. Okay. Kyle Trask has talent. We know
he sucks. Dude sucks.
Like cement foot. Who would you rather have, Kyle Trask or Davis Mills?
Give me Dante Culpepper. I don't know. I don't want either of those guys.
Dante's like 50 right now, but he still might do it.
Yeah, I would take Kyle Trask, but Kyle Trask sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say he sucks, but like I've watched enough Kyle Trask to know that like that dude's not good.
But if there was a team he was going to go to, this team made the most sense.
I guess.
Because they play similar styles of football where they're not very mobile guys. If Brady can teach him anything, the arm talents there is all in the brain. We saw, in the, I can't remember which game it was. It'll hit me later. But anyway, Joe Tryon at 32, I like that pick. He's versatile. He can stand up. He can play the 5 technique. He can do a little bit of everything. Robert Hainsey out of Notre Dame, perfect guy who I think moves into guard. Jalen Darden, just speed added to the
Texas
roster.
Man.
I mean, and he's just fast. He's a little dude. He's 5'8", but he's like 180, so he's still thick. I like what they did here. I thought it was really good. And, I mean, they just figure, hey, we bring everyone back from a Super Bowl winning team, and now we're just going to kind of fill in spots and see what we can get here. I mean, I thought it was a solid draft for them. What did you think overall?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, outside of what we just discussed Kyle Trask, but I mean,
Kyle Trash.
Yeah. How much does that roster need at this point? I mean, they basically retained retained everybody. I'm assuming Antonio Brown gets signed sooner rather than later. He already did sign?
He's already been signed. Yep.
All right, so boom. They pretty much brought every single player back.
Everybody's back. So let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. This was a team where we needed to figure out what their general direction was. Are they going forward? Are they moving on? Are they going to add pieces to eventually use as their future? Or are they just going to try to put in really good guys and try to win the Super Bowl? And it looks like with Kyle Pitts, number 4 overall, they're like, we're going for it.
Yep.
Matty Ice has got all the weapons. You got Julio. You got Calvin Ridley. You got the kids in the slot, and now you got Kyle Pitts.
Take this for 1 second.
So you get Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a do-it-all, one-of-a-kind, unbelievable talent at tight end. He's an athletic freak who can do everything at tight end except for maybe block. But that's not what he's going to be asked to do in the NFL. He's going to be just a receiver. He is a red zone weapon, and I like the pick, but they could have taken someone else. Richie Grant, solid corner at 40. Jalen Mayfield, a good guard out of Michigan at 68. They did some really solid things. Nothing special here. I do like what they did. Everything, I mean, if you're really grading, it's an A probably all around. But this was a really good draft for the first year GM and Terry Fontenot. I thought he really did good. And Arthur Smith. I mean, they did. Kyle Pitts is a do-it-all, get everything. He's going to get open. He's going to probably be rookie of the year. That's how good he is. We're going to move on to the AFC West, and we're going to start with the Oakland Raiders. Oakland Raiders. I mean, Oakland here, I mean, you look at what they got. Alex Leatherwood, you're going at number 17. Alex Leatherwood is a guy who you don't know if he's a guard or if he's going to be a safety, or a guard or a tackle. And what are you doing, Cat? This cat just wants to ruin the show tonight. But I don't like what the Raiders did at all. I like Trevin Merrick in the second round, getting him at 43. I think that's a steal. But outside of that, just the Raiders keep doing things that make you go, what the fuck are the Raiders doing?
We're talking about the Raiders?
We're on to the Raiders. AFC West.
I don't know what the hell the Raiders. I was telling you, the Raiders draft to me, it's just they're like, to me, there's no plan. There's no clear plan at all. It's just literally like we're just gonna go with whoever the hell we feel like. They're playing the game of we're gonna take a guy we like over a team need, where I think the team need at this point is more important than the guy they like. But Chucky and Mayock are not going to do that. They're going to go with the Farrell in the first round last year. They're just going to or you know what I mean. They're just going to do whatever the hell they want. They're going to jump for Henry Ruggs. That's just what they're going to do because they're the Raiders, and at some point if I'm a Raiders fan, and I love John Gruden more than anybody in the world. John Gruden's awesome. Love him. But dude, what are they doing? Like, if I'm a Raiders fan, it's like at this point you're getting paid a shitload of money. I'm sure the John Gruden tracker is still alive and well somewhere. But again, I mean, what are we doing here? Where are we going here? We got to figure out a game plan because I don't know what the idea is. And in the bowl cut, Davis is coming down. He'll be listen. Another shitty season, bowl cut Davis is going to be coming down asking for jobs.
Yeah.
Although they owe Gruden like another $70 million. But
Trevin Merrick in the second round, though, that's basically their first round pick. Alex Leatherwood is a really good player, but he's still young. He's still got things to figure out. And by the way, the isgrudengonyet.com is still up. The answer is no, but 6 years, 35 weeks, 6 days, 15 hours, 27 minutes, 21 seconds. And Gruden has made $7 since I said that sentence and $33 million in total. He still owed $66,693,000. So yeah, isgrudengonyet.com still up, still rolling. But
good.
This whole draft, it's like you got rid of your entire offensive line. So I get that Leatherwood makes sense for that, but I feel like he was going to be there later because he's still a bit of a project. Merrick, going to be a stud next to Abrams. If you can reel in Abrams, fine, you're going to be solid. But I felt they could have done other things. We'll see how it works out. I kind of stuck up for Damon Arnett last year. Didn't like the Clelin Ferrell pick at 4 overall the year before, but they're doing their own thing. They're like, we're the Raiders. We do what I want, just like you said. Let's move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Bolton in round 2, linebacker out of Missouri. Like that pick. Love this pick at 63 overall. Creed Humphrey.
Yes.
Out of Oklahoma. That pick. This guy is the quarterback of your offensive line. He's going to be a stud. Right there, I think that's basically Trey Smith in round 6. That's going to be a steal possibly. They traded their first round for Orlando Brown. We were worried about the offensive line. They rebuilt it. Excellent job this offseason.
Creed Humphrey dropping, dude. Creed Humphrey dropping to where he did. That was a steal for them. Absolute steal. Yeah, their draft's great. Picking from where they did, to your point, making the big trade for the Orlando Brown, bulking up the offensive line. Weird, like we were sitting here a month ago, saying, hey, they're just basically just letting their entire offensive line go.
Yep.
Which they did, but they seem to be trying to rebuild it, which I think they've done a good job. I don't know if they've done a great job, but we'll see.
They've done a pretty solid job. We'll see how it goes, like I said. But another team that really spent effort getting better on their offensive line, Rashawn Slater, 13 overall to the Chargers. Got to keep Herbert standing upright. Love that pick. I thought he was a top 6 overall player in this draft. I love Rashawn Slater. Think he's a stud. Think you needed to do that. That was a simple. If you're grading, that's a simple A+ because that's how good that kid is and what you needed to do to keep your guy upright. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback out of round 2. Josh Palmer, that might have been an overdraft, but we'll see how it works. And this was a solid draft. It's an A.
Rashawn Slater pick is as good as it gets in that position. Where they were drafted, He fell. Some argued he was a better tackle than Sewell. So I don't agree with that because I'm a Lions fan and I certainly don't want to. But a good player, and you love to have him fall into your lap like they did.
Mm-hmm. Just sit there and let the guys fall to you, and now you got someone to protect the blind side of your franchise quarterback for years to come. I mean, and their top two needs going into this draft that I had were tackle and corner, and they got tackle and corner. Very good players off the bat. I mean, you can't beat it. Now we'll move on to the Denver Broncos. 9 overall. They're sitting there, and I'm like, okay, 9 overall. Justin Fields is sitting there. Even me, who's tried to stick up for Drew Lock at times, I'm like, Justin Fields is the guy. I'm pounding the table. The pick comes in with the 9th pick in the 2021 draft. The Denver Broncos select Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback, Alabama. Love Patrick Surtain, but shouldn't have been Justin Fields here.
Yeah, it should have. And then they went running back. It just didn't make a lot of sense for me out of the gate for Denver. We kind of know what Drew Lock is. I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's kind of is what it is at this point, right? We've seen Drew Lock for 2 years,
and they did trade for Teddy Bridgewater, so it's like, are you really holding off because you got Bridgewater now and you traded? It's like the same thing with the Panthers.
But it's that team is so stacked with weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting the correct guy in there could be. I'm not saying Justin Fields walks in a Super Bowl team, but that team has Super Bowl talent on
they do.
Both sides of the football. I think if there was ever an Aaron Rodgers trade or anything, the perfect spot would be the Denver Broncos. In my opinion.
It's basically the Peyton Manning finish.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, but clearly he wasn't their guy. They didn't like him, and they decided to go corner. And Patrick Surtain was the best corner in this draft. And I don't think you can argue that. I mean, he's certainly good, but I get it. But at the same time, if you have the opportunity to take a quarterback again, dude, like you don't want to be picking in the top 10. Like, so you try to take your guy. Like, just let's hope this doesn't happen again because a quarterback can lead you to wins. Where a cornerback can't.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I mean, Javonte Williams, it's a running back at 35. It's an uber talented running back. I mean, he's possibly next Nick Chubb. I mean, I like that pick as a luxury pick. It helps that offense, and maybe it helps Drew Lock. We'll see.
Our boy Baron Browning,
love that pick. Baron Browning, absolute steal there at linebacker. Caden Stearns, I thought was a steal. Jamar Johnson, I like that pick. Jonathan Cooper late from Ohio State. Jonathan Cooper's not going to do anything special, but he's going to push the pocket. I love what they did. I thought this was the best draft in this division overall, but I do love what the Chargers did. I thought every team in this division did an excellent job as well, except for the Oakland Raiders. So now let's finish it off with the NFC West. What was the best pick in this entire division, you think, and the NFC West?
Probably Trey Lance.
I think that's where you got to go.
I mean, listen, I know it's more of it's not a instant gratification selection to an extent because, you got a guy that probably is not, hopefully, I think if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, if you're a Kyle Shanahan fan, a John Lynch fan, you hope that you don't have to play Kyle Trask or one at all. You hope that you can just let Jimmy Garoppolo go in. He can just. Did I say Kyle Trask?
Yeah,
I think I did. Oh, Jesus,
you got
Trey Lance,
Trask,
rather.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance, rather. You just hope that you can let him sit for the year and then go from there because the dude's got a hell of an arm. He's super talented. We know he is. It's just I don't think that he's in a situation that you can throw in right away. But I think when we look back, that's going to be the best pick of this division.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because this kid on the field, off the field, mental game, athletic game, it's all there. But we haven't seen him really put it together on the field because we haven't seen him on the field much. I mean, 17 career starts, 19 career games. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he comes along. And you got Jimmy G there. It's a perfect situation for the kid. I love it. Overall, with the 49ers, at Aaron Banks round 2, a solid guard that fits their zone blocking scheme. Trey Sermon, 88 overall.
Great pick.
Sermon's not a guy who's going to really run away from you. He's not going to make a move on you necessarily.
Between the tackle guy.
His vision, and everything you want in this offense's vision. Love that pick. And then they had Eli Mitchell in round 6, another running back, and they added Wayne Gallman. This team is loaded with new running backs. I mean, Trey Sermon or Eli Mitchell is going to Raheem Mostert at some point.
Yeah, they do have a shitload of running backs at this point. I'm assuming there's one that doesn't make the roster, but we'll see.
Probably. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. Number 16 overall, Zaven Collins, who I love. He's up to 270 now at 6'5".
Freak.
Still can run sideline to sideline. Absolute stud. Rondale Moore, who's a freak athlete in round 2. Rondale Moore is kind of like, okay, Andy and Isabella, you haven't lived up to what we expected out of you. We're replacing you with this guy. Tay Gowan in round 6. Out of UCF, a solid pick. James Wiggins out of Cincinnati, round 7. I thought what they did was they got value.
It was a good draft.
They had a solid draft. They just filled spots. But they still
didn't. Collins pick is, not to cut you off, but that's just a freak.
Yeah.
And that's a freak that he's from Tulsa, so he's not a freak that shows up on the TV as often as you would think. But it was weird because you could see him going anywhere from 10 to the second round. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could have gone anywhere, and I like it. What I thought, and then the Rondale Moore pick, I mean, you're adding another weapon to what? I mean, that offense should have everything that they need to make Kyler Murray successful. Yeah, I like their draft a lot.
I'm with you. And now you look at that defense. You got Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones. You got a scary defense in the division. You're really going to need it because there's a lot of good offense in this division. Yeah. And now we'll move on to the Seattle Seahawks. 3 picks, 2, 4, and 6. Dwayne Eskridge in round 2, Trey Brown in round 4, Stone Forsythe. Forsythe is a monster in round 6. We'll see if he can ever move into adding leverage in the run game. But, I mean, he struggles with speed, but he's a round 6 guy, and he's like 6'9". We'll see what he develops into. Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver. I mean, he's 5'9". He's a burner. He's a Greg Jennings type player. But is that what you needed here for this team?
No, and I mean, I like him, but like, again, he's comes from a small school, Western Michigan, I believe. Mm-hmm. This team has, again, to me, if I'm the Seahawks, I take every offensive lineman known to man in this draft. Clearly, your quarterback is sick of being on his back. Yeah. You have one of the best in the league. I am literally drafting every damn offensive lineman I can, to an extent, of course. But, like, that's the play for me all day long if I'm the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm with you on that. That's where I thought they should have went. And a team I definitely think should have won offensive line is a team whose draft I hated the most in the entire league. Absolutely hated this draft. And that's the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, who you add Matt Stafford this offseason. You've got weapons. You still got Cooper Kupp. You've still got Robert Woods. I mean, you got running backs who can run. You got a lot of talent on that team. But you look at your depth, like on the running or on the offensive line. Andrew Whitworth is 67 years old.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to wear down. Now, he hasn't yet. He's been an excellent player. But he's your left tackle. How are you really counting on him to be there 100%? Left guard David Edwards, okay. Brian Allen, Austin Corbett, Rob Havenstein, right tackle. But just, there's nothing here that makes me think. Yeah, Austin Corbett was terrible here. Now, he's played better in LA. Don't get me wrong. He's played a lot better, and he's an okay player right now. He's developed into a fine guy. But when you trade all those assets, you trade, and you haven't had a first-round pick since, I mean, like 1987.
Right.
When you trade all that and you get Matt Stafford, don't you want to keep him upright? But instead you go with Tutu Atwell, who for everyone who wants to talk about how skinny Devontae Smith is, Devontae Smith looks like me compared to Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell is less than 150 pounds. And he's like 5'8". Is that what you needed at 57 overall? I mean, I just don't know. I mean, yeah, later on, you got a guy, Jake Funk, another running back. Great name, Jake Funk. You got some okay players, Chris Garrett. I mean, I don't like this draft at all. Maybe I'm wrong. But
I don't either. No, I don't either. I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. Everything you said. I mean, it's all about keeping the quarterback upright. It just seems like they're making picks, and their defense is really good. We know their defense is really good. We know Aaron Donald's not getting suspended anymore. You know, but again, they have pieces offensively as far as you have to build the line. To your point, Andrew Whitworth, who has been phenomenal for a long time, but eventually you're gonna have to replace him. And to go with a dude named Tutu, it's a rough.
Listen, Tutu, he's probably going to be really good in that offense, and I'm sure that. I'm
sure that Sean McVay's got some things planned out for it.
I just don't think it makes sense. I mean, I'm trying to find some positive in it. Young kid. I mean, obviously they're all young. I mean, this draft, you had constant people who were born in the year 2000 being drafted, which is insane to me because I still think it's 2006. Like, how are they drafting 6-year-olds? Yeah, it fucking happened. It creeped up on it. But I think we hit every division there. I mean, you got any final thoughts on the draft here?
No, man, that was good. That was fun. I'm sorry I missed the draft, but we're back, baby.
We are back, and this was a weird show to come back to. Lots of technical difficulties. Started right off the bat, and then they just got worse. But thank you, everyone who watched. It does happen. We'll be back next week. Brother, excellent show. I had a lot of fun. Glad we got catch up on the draft. And before we get out here tonight, make sure you follow Drew on Twitter at DetroitDave7. Check in his bio. This dude will fix your golf game. All you got to do is send him a DM or an email. Yeah. Dude will fix your golf game. Don't hire the head or don't hire the golf coach. Just send it to this dude. He'll do it for free.
Appreciate it, brother.
For free. Free. That spells free. Free. Not talking about money. Right. We're talking about free. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Check us out on Twitter at SomervilleCLE, at DetroitDave7. Full coverage football show. We will be back next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, remember, as always, if you live the life you love the life you live. And, yeah, I don't know if anything's working here, but we out. Later, kids.
See you, man.